So let me be really careful on how we're going to do this. So if you want to increase your sales, let's say you want to double your sales. Let's say you want to triple your sales. Okay. It's all possible. Okay. It's 100% possible. Don't let anybody tell you it's not. But what you have to figure out to do it is what parts of your sales process that have gotten you to where you are the parts that need to stay, and what parts can be leveraged through. Hello, everybody. It's Sean Moudry here, back again with the Sean Moudry Podcast, vlog, talk, whatever we are. And as always, I'm here with my co-host, Mo, coming from Cairo, Egypt. How are you, Mo?
I'm fine. Thank you so much for asking, Sean.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. So today we were having a conversation about working harder, right? And I don't know about the culture in Egypt, man. I mean, you have to tell me, is it believed in Egypt that, you know, to be successful and to have everything that you have to work hard to get there?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And so a lot of us, right, then we go out and we work hard and we have some level of success, right? However you want to measure success in sales, right? Maybe your success is, 50 units a year, 50 units a month, whatever it is, whatever you're selling, and you have some level of success and you think, hey, I want to double it. So then how do we try to double it? What do we try to do, man?
We work harder. We
We,
try to we
we
try
think
to
the
do more
answer,
of what we already doing.
that's right. We try to double our work,
Yeah.
right? But let's be honest. Let's be honest right now. Anybody who's listening to this, who's had any level of success at a high level, you're already working hard,
Yes.
right? You're already pushing the limit. You're already, breaking down barriers when it comes to time. And so really, can you double your workload? Is that possible? Can you work harder to solve the problem?
No, you cannot create more time.
Yeah, you can't create more time. And as you and I were talking about earlier, when you go to sleep is when you're tired. Right?
Yeah.
So, so, so that's the challenge. So for many people, I'm not here to say that working harder is never the answer. Okay, I'm not here to say that. But I am saying that working harder isn't always the answer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about which cases that is. Like, when is working harder the answer, and when is working harder not the answer? I think that's a good way to segue into this conversation. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I second that opinion.
So what are some examples, man, that you think of when you think of somebody that, you have a friend who's like, man, I want to be more successful, and you're thinking,
Now let me talk
dude,
about myself.
okay.
Because I've been in this place a ton of times. So, for those of you who are listening, you might not know about me as much, but just a quick overview. I have been working at call centers and in the customer service industry for almost 5 years. Okay. A huge portion of that 5 years was spent at Vodafone UK. So I had a personal goal of being the number one on the queue. And my thought process is if I can take more calls, then I can get more surveys, and then more people will be promoting me and promoting the company for my net promoter score, or my satisfaction score will be higher because I'm taking more calls. So I remember that month uh, really, uh, really hard. It was August 2018. This month I was competing with I think everybody. And again, there was not like a big prize or something, but I was just trying to prove myself that I can do it.
Yeah.
So what happened is, again, with the same thought process, is taking more calls, then therefore there will be um, more satisfaction rate. So what happened is at this specific month, I was taking a ton of calls. My shift was 8 hours. I was spending 12 to 13 hours in the company. In some days, I actually, slept at the company and and woke up, continued the second day, and kept grinding and with no reason, you know, with no valid reason or valid thoughts in my mind. All I had in mind is if I can take more calls, I can get more
Mhm.
satisfaction scores. What happened was the complete opposite. What happened was the complete opposite. So at the end of the month, my average net promoter score was 40%. The target was 35. My average was 40%. At this specific month, I got
Wait, what does that
25%.
mean? What does that mean? So you went from 30 up to 40 for your promoter score. What did the promoter score measure?
It measures the overall satisfaction in the call. So not every customer gets this
So,
survey. So it's like
yeah.
a survey message that you receive on your phone.
So it
Uh,
got better. So
no, it got
so your score
worse.
went up.
No, no.
No.
The target was 35. My average was 40. As at this specific month, it went down to 20%.
Oh,
Yeah. And there's a
of
reason
40.
behind it.
So of a total of 40, you went down to 20.
Yeah. Yeah. And the reason behind it is the distribution was fair enough for if I'm not if I wasn't like spending this extra time and other people was spending this extra time and taking those other calls, I think that the case will be even, right?
Yeah.
Because we are all taking the same amount of calls, and the possibilities of getting negative feedback, in addition to the possibilities of getting positive feedback, is equivalent kind of thing. So what I
Well,
did is I pivoted this and ended up being on an action plan. So working
oh,
hard
wow.
in
Okay.
that case not was not the solution.
Yeah, so in sales, right, especially when you're in a sales business where you're completely self-employed, completely commission based,
Yeah.
referrals and repeat business is everything. Is everything. And
Mm.
so when you're talking about your promoter score, that is the likelihood of them referring you or repeating with you, right? So your score went down,
Yeah.
and if people aren't satisfied, they definitely don't refer, right? They
And
definitely
I just want to add on this point, and here's the reason behind them being from willing to promote me and promote the company to not willing to promote me and promote the company, because I was taking more than I could personally handle, to a point where I was like, okay, I cannot take this anymore. So in most cases, I became rude on some of the calls because I couldn't handle it. Right, it was way off my energy, and I was pushing
don't.
it with with all my powers, and unconsciously aware that I'm doing this the wrong way.
Yeah. So so it's important to remember that we're human beings, right?
Yeah.
We're not machines. And even machines, you don't run them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. You have to maintain them, you have to shut them down. You got to do work on them, update them, upgrade them. You have to do those things even to machines. And yet we love, and this is one thing that I can't stand about some of the other coaching that exists out there, is it's like they get somebody who's already, I would say redlining, right? So if you think about like a car, it's redlining, you're throttling and you're in the red, and they try to get leverage over you,
Mm.
and they try to put more leverage over you to push you into that red line all the way, right?
Yeah.
Then it's great, so sure, yeah, you might increase 20%, you might increase 30%, and that coach can pat themselves on the back saying, hey, I took a top producer and I increased their production by 20% in a short amount of time. But is it sustainable,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And it's not, because we're human beings,
Mm,
right? And I don't
absolutely.
know
Yeah.
if anybody's ever burned out that's listening to this, if you've ever pushed yourself so hard that you've burned out, but the recovery from burnout can take years,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
It's not one of those things that you just spring back from. It can
Yeah.
take years for you to come back around again. And some people never do. Some people, they burn out and they're gone,
Yeah.
you know.
That's true. Well, I'm grateful that the next month after that one, I took a week off, but that was a no-show, so that made me on an even worse action plan. So, but I needed it. I really needed it,
You
right?
burned out. You
Yeah.
pushed yourself beyond the red line. You throttled too hard. You broke the machine. You burned yourself out. You
Yeah.
had to take time out, right? And get back on it. So let's come back really quick. And so before we give them the solutions, before we start talking about the solutions to increasing your business, your sales, and being able to maintain a healthy balance when it comes to lifestyle and those kind of things. Before we get
Yeah.
into the solutions of that, let's address the fact that there are some people that do need to work harder.
Yes.
So what are some signs for people that the answer is you need to just work harder? What are some signs?
Um, I think some of the signs that could show that someone really needs to work hard is before you even decide that this person needs to work hard, you need to ask yourself, what are you trying to measure? What are you looking for, right? So if success from my point of view is to make $1,000, then it's definitely not from your perspective. Does that make sense? But I think I'm pivoting off a little bit.
No, that didn't make sense at all. I don't know what you're talking about. So what I think you're saying is what you're saying is maybe the reason they're not working hard is they don't have a big why. They don't have a reason. They don't have the drive behind the reason, right?
Oh yeah, that's exactly what I was saying.
Like if you want to make $1,000, you have to have a reason to make $1,000, right?
Yeah.
I agree. And I also would like to say this, like traditionally, if people have a reason for making money, for a reason for making sales, a reason for doing what they're doing, and they're not doing it, it's because there's something preventing them from moving forward, either in reality, which could be resources, right? Resources can be money. Resources could be lack of education, lack of the right tools and systems. That could be a lack of resources that are preventing them from moving forward.
Yeah.
Or it could be a belief system that's preventing them from moving forward. So this could be, a belief that they're not good enough, they're not smart enough, they're not, if they do succeed and they fail, then there's something, then it wasn't meant to be, or that they'll fail anyways, or like, why bother? Because my life is set up to be a failure. These beliefs will erode people from moving forward. But the truth is, for some people, if you're sitting around and you're watching a lot of TV, if you're sitting around watching the news and not, and you're sitting there thinking, man, I could, make these calls, or I could go to the gym even, right? I could even
Yeah.
work out and go for a walk or get some exercise. Or if you're sitting there and you're having those thoughts, but you're not taking the action, okay? If you're having the thoughts, that tells me that you have the knowledge, you have the understanding of what you should do, but you're not taking the action, okay? Then working harder probably is the answer. Because Viktor Frankl, who wrote the book, right? He wrote the book, Man's Search for Meaning. He talks about depression inside the book, and he was a psychologist who studied human behavior for like 50 years, right? And he wrote an amazing book when he was in his 20s. And I'll let you discover that book on your own. But he basically says, if you want to get somebody out of a depression cycle, give them something to focus on, right? And he's like, it doesn't matter, but if you're focusing on a task, you can't pay attention to why. Your brain literally can't pay attention to the doubts and the fears and the existential vacuum, he calls it, which is like, what is the world about? What does it all mean, right? Your brain cannot pay attention to those things if it's focusing on a task, okay? So he simply says it doesn't matter what the task is. It could be tending to a garden. It could be cutting down logs. It could be mowing a lawn. It could be doing sales. It could be giving presentations. It doesn't matter what the task is. Get focused on the task. So again, referencing Viktor Frankl, if you're sitting on the couch thinking, I could be making a few sales calls right now, or I could be creating a better presentation right now, or I could be, door knocking or going business to business or doing any of these things, whatever that chatter is in your head, and you find yourself not taking the actions and moving forward, okay? If you're not taking the actions and moving forward, then working absolutely is the answer. Working harder is that answer. Okay? So the key is that the drive has to exceed the fear. Your drive, your why for it has to exceed the fear. And when your drive exceeds the fear, you will have progress. You'll move forward. Okay? And sometimes the action can alleviate the fear. So get into action. Get off the couch, right? Stop watching the news. Did I cover that? Was that clear?
Yeah, but keep watching this podcast.
You can watch the podcast. We keep them short so you can get off on today.
To keep them short.
Okay, so now let's solve the other problem. You're producing, you're in production, you're working your tail off, you're putting in, a solid week's work, and you want to still increase your business. And in fact, you see others that are able to do it. They're selling more than you. You want to exceed your sales, but you cannot figure out how they're doing it. So the challenge comes back to your processes, that is your actions that you're taking day to day, and the systems that you're using. That's where the solution lies, okay? So you have to figure out, how do you duplicate your tasks and eliminate your less efficient, less progressive tasks that are not moving you forward, right? What is the you that makes you you? What is the sales that makes you successful at sales? What is that piece of you that you keep? And what are the pieces that you leverage off, okay, to allow you to stay focused on the things that are going to move your business forward instead of the things that are going to maybe keep you safe, keep you distracted, or are less efficient, okay, in your business.
Okay, so what you're trying to say is that you are trying to make people focus on the tasks that are really crucial to their business, and they think that this is what they should be focusing on because this is what's like the gist of my business, and whatever the rest is other tasks that I need to be having someone else to do it, right?
That's exactly it. But you have to define, make a mistake in doing this and leveraging off tasks, is you have to get really clear on what parts of the business are successful because it's you. Because if you leverage off the wrong task, you can break your business. You can break your sales business. So a great example of that, let me give you a perfect example. Leveraging off your social media voice, right? Having somebody taking over your social media and taking over your voice can hurt you because all of a sudden the tone is off, right? The energy's off. It's just not you anymore. And your customers and your people and your sphere all of a sudden say, hey, this just doesn't seem right. It's just off, right? Something's off. So be careful about leveraging off the tone, right? Your marketing message. We talk about this all the time, right? Our Facebook ads, right? Our Facebook ads, it's like, why isn't our ads running? And then we read it, we're like, because the ad sucks. Who wrote this ad?
I was going to mention that.
Oh, it's the worst. It's the worst. And what was the mistake we made, right? What was the mistake we made is we leveraged off a part of the business that shouldn't have been leveraged off, or we didn't detail the process correctly so that when we leveraged it off, they needed to understand better what was the pieces of the DNA that made us successful that can't be leveraged. It can't be changed, right?
Yeah, totally.
For Coca Cola, it's their recipe, right? Remember, you're too young to remember this, but when Coca Cola made the new Coke, man, back in the 80s, right? They ruined it, and people were pissed because they liked the old Coke, right? And so don't change the DNA in your business, and leverage those pieces off. Be careful about that. So let me be really careful on how we're going to do this. So if you want to increase your sales, let's say you want to double your sales. Let's say you want to triple your sales. Okay. It's all possible. Okay. It's 100% possible. Don't let anybody tell you it's not. But what you have to figure out to do it is what parts of your sales process that have gotten you to where you are the parts that need to stay, and what parts can be leveraged through systems, which are like, computer systems, software, outsourcing, right? Where you're handing it to somebody else, like a virtual assistant, somebody else to handle the task, or hiring an employee that works for you to handle that system. Okay. So it's technology, then it's outsourcing, then it's hiring. And it's always in that order. It's always technology first. What technology can solve this for me, right? What outsourcing person can solve this? The reason we go to outsourcing is because it's piecework, right? You need some graphic design done. You hire it out one time. You don't go hire a graphic designer for 70 grand a year.
Yeah.
You hire it out. It costs $400 to have it done. It's done. It was $400 and it's done. And then the last thing you do is you hire somebody. But the reason it's the last thing you do is it's the most difficult thing to do is hire somebody and train them and get them up to speed. So you do that last, okay? But before, you have to go through all of your processes that you do as a salesperson that make you successful. You have to go through every one of those sales processes that make you successful and figure out which parts can you not hand off? Can you not let go of? Okay. So it's not what do you enjoy doing the most. It's not what you enjoy doing the most. I don't love writing copy. I don't love it. I don't love recording video. I really don't love editing video. But in order to make sure the message is correct and it's true to my voice, right? I can't leverage those parts off as of right now. Okay. As of right now. Now, don't get me wrong. I know people, my sister does social media management for people. She has literally written blogs in the name of very famous people. And you read the blog and it's in the other person's name. And my sister ghost wrote it, right? So big that it doesn't really matter at that point, as long as it's not tone deaf, insensitive, discrimination, right? Those kind of things. It's just got to be decent content to go out. But for me, at the level that my business is, my message is everything, right? And I can't leverage that off.
Yeah. Okay, so you mentioned something very interesting, which is which parts of your business that you cannot, leverage or you cannot outsource. So this is related to one of the episodes that we previously recorded, where you talked about the first touch and the last touch. So would it be okay if you could quickly remind us about that again?
So the first touch and the last touch concept is this idea that a sales prospect might need to see your marketing, your messaging, your branding multiple times before they're build enough trust in order to buy. Okay. But a mistake a lot of salespeople make is they perceive their effective sales point was at their last touch that they had with them. So they sent an email and the prospect responded, said, yes, I'm ready to buy. And so they think in their head that the email is what was successful, yet they didn't pay attention to the first touch, which was why the customer reached out in the first place, and the follow-up touches, meaning maybe the customer went to the website, Maybe they liked the page on social media, on Facebook. Maybe they follow the Twitter account. And so it was the multiple touches along the way that actually helped build the trust to trigger the sale.
Hmm. Hmm. So, how important is it, do you think, knowing this, in order to avoid doing hard work and trying to go with the smart work route? So, how important is knowing this in relation to this?
Knowing the first versus last touch
Yeah,
concept,
yeah.
I don't know necessarily if it's so important to know that about a specific customer. I mean, it would be nice, right, if we had the data, but it's really hard to track if a customer went to your web page, is following you on social media, what posts
Mm-hmm.
they watched, did they read this email? Like, I mean, unless you're a tech company, that's going to be brutal to track. Okay.
Yeah.
And honestly, for most salespeople that are in traditional sales, where we talk about real estate, mortgage, hazard insurance, car sales, those type of sales positions, you don't have software systems that are tracking that. And frankly, if you did have software systems that were tracking all that, you're probably not making too much sales because you're paying too much attention to the data.
Mm.
Like, you're
Spending
way
too
in the
much
weeds.
time on data. Yeah.
Yeah. But I will flip it though and say this, like one of the things that's important to do when you're looking at what you're handing off is to consider your personality
through
systems, which
right?
are like, and so
computer
systems,
software.
if you're more of an
Outsourcing,
introverted preference,
right,
on your
where you're
personality
handing
type,
it to somebody else,
and
like
you solve your problems
a
through
virtual
logic,
assistant,
right?
Somebody
And
else to handle the
technology is
task,
something that comes natural
or
to you.
hiring an
Then
employee
you might
that works
actually
for you
leverage
to
off
handle
some of the
that
sales
that
process.
system.
And
Okay,
you
so
focus your time and energy on lead
technology,
generation using software.
then it's outsourcing,
Okay?
then
And
it's
then
hiring.
the
And it's
face-to-face
always in that
sales
order.
process.
It's
You
always
might be
technology
something that
first. What
you
technology can
leverage off.
solve this for
So
me?
your job
right?
is generating the leads
What
via the internet and through
outsourcing person can
technology
solve this? The
systems.
reason we go to outsourcing
And then the
is because
face-to-face
because it's
interaction is
piecework,
done by
right?
somebody else.
You
Okay?
need some graphic
Now,
design
if you're
done.
somebody
You
who's
hire
more
it out one time. You don't go
relational-based
hire a
and
graphic
you like to
designer for
build and
70
develop
grand a year.
long-term
You
relationships,
hire it out.
but
It
technology
costs
isn't something
$400 to
that's,
have it
your
done.
greatest asset.
It's done.
Or
It was $400.
frankly,
It's done.
you're just
And
not
then the
good
last
at
thing you
it,
do
and
is
you
you
don't have
hire
a lot of
somebody.
interest, and
But
so
the
you're
reason it's
probably
the
not
last
going
thing
to
you do
develop the
is it's the
skill
most
because
difficult
you're
thing to
not
do
going
is
to
hire
do the
somebody
skill
and train them and
right?
get them
Like,
up to speed.
if you're not going to
Yeah.
do
So
it,
you do that last.
you're
Okay.
never going to get
But
good at it.
before,
Yeah.
you have to go through all of your
So you
processes
might want
that
to
you
consider
do
as a
taking some of those
salesperson
pieces and
that
leveraging
make
those
you
pieces
successful.
off. You have to go through every one of those sales processes that make you
in order
successful
to somebody else
and
who
figure
who
out
is
which
better at
parts
it.
are.
And frankly, I
Can
think
you
that's the
not
relationship
hand
you and
off?
I have, right?
Can
I
you
mean,
not let go of?
I am
Okay.
somewhat
It's not what do
technically
you enjoy
skilled,
doing?
right? I have
The
decent
most.
technical skills.
It's
but I
not
don't have a
what
lot
you
of
enjoy
time
doing the most.
to really develop.
I
and
don't
hone those
love
skills.
writing copy.
Where
I don't
you,
love it.
on the other hand, your
I don't
technical
love
skills when it comes
recording
to
video.
software technologies,
I really don't love editing
social
video.
media, those things.
But
Your skills
in
are much
order
higher
to
than
make
mine.
sure the message
And you
is
have more available
correct and
time
it's
than
true
I
to my
do.
voice,
So,
but
right?
where we can meet in the middle
I
is
can't leverage those
is
parts
you
off
helping me
as of right
understand
now.
what I need to
Okay,
do
as of right now.
right?
Now,
And then
now
you
don't
helping
get me
me
wrong. I know
execute
people,
on what I need to do.
my sister does social media management for people. She has literally written
I'm
blogs.
I'm not
in
here
the
to say that I
name
don't
of
need to
very
learn how
famous people.
and you read
use
the
systems
blog
like
and it's in the other
Clubhouse,
person's name.
software systems like
And my
Clubhouse
sister
or
goes
YouTube,
it,
right?
or
So
get better at Google Analytics and
big,
those kind of
but
things.
it doesn't
I'm not
really
here to say that I
matter
don't need to
at
learn
that
it,
point,
but
as
I don't
long
need
as
to
it's
learn
not
every
tone
single
deaf,
detail of it.
insensitive,
If I have somebody else who's kind of
discrimination,
walking
right?
me
Those kind
through
of
it
things, and saying,
it's
okay,
just
here's
got to
the
be
parts
decent
I'm going to
content.
handle.
To
Here's
go
what
out.
I
But
need
for
you to
me,
do.
at the level of
You
my
know,
business,
you don't
spend a lot of time
my
writing copy.
message is everything,
Right?
yeah.
Right. And I can't
Um,
leverage that all.
You don't spend a
Yeah.
lot of time, writing what our podcast
Okay,
is going to be about.
you mentioned
The majority of your
something
time is
very
making
interesting,
sure that
which
these things are
is
being
which
utilized in the
parts
right
of your
way,
business
that
that you cannot,
it's generating the results
you know,
that we want in front of
leverage
the
or you
audience that we
cannot
want, right?
outsource. So,
Yeah, so there's a great
this
example right
is
there in
related to
leveraging
one of the
something off,
episodes that we previously
right? That's
recorded,
outside of my
where you
skill
talked
set,
about
but it's still
the first
necessary
touch
in
and the
sales
last
today.
touch. And
So
outside of
would it
your
be okay
country, if
to
you could quickly
And what?
remind us about that
and
again.
outside of your country?
So
And
the
outside of
first
your
touch
country.
and the last
Yeah,
touch,
I mean,
touch concept
Yeah, it
is this
doesn't need
idea
to
that
be somebody who's sitting in the
a
office with you.
sales prospect technology today is amazing about that. Like just your marketing, your messaging. I don't even like using the term VA. Like virtual assistant, I'm like, I don't even think of it that way. I think it's a really, but a mistake a lot of salespeople make is they just perceive their effective sales point was at their last touch that they had with them. So they sent an email. I mean, prospect responded. Look at today, man. Everybody's working on Zoom anyways. It wouldn't even matter if you were a block away. Email is what was successful. Yet they didn't pay attention to the first touch. It just happens to be why 1 in the morning where you reached out in the first place, and the follow-up touches, meaning maybe the customer went to the website, maybe they liked the page on social media on Facebook, maybe they followed the Twitter account, and so I just want to revisit this one more time along the way. That actually, if your goals, and I'll use real estate as an example. Okay, so let's say your goal, let's say last year you did 50 sales, right? And in real estate, 50 sales, considering the average real estate agent annually does about 12 transactions a year. If you sold 50 homes last year, you're in the top of your game. You're in the top 2 to 3% in the entire United States. Knowing that you say that your goal is to increase versus your last touch 75 sales. So you want to increase them by 50%. I don't know necessarily if it's so important to know that about a specific absolutely customer. I mean, it would be nice. That's what I want to start with. We had the data, but it's really hard to solve that problem. Is you set the goal, you reverse engineer what posts they watched. Did they read this email? Like, I mean, unless you're a tech company, that's going to be brutal to track. Okay. Yeah. How many contracts honestly, do I have for most salespeople that are in traditional sales, where we talk about real estate, mortgage, listing hazard insurance, must I have? Those type of sales positions. You don't have. So you're just doing the math, tracking that to break that down. Frankly, if you did have software systems that were tracking all that, you're probably not making too much sales and number of contracts too much. Now the problem that you're solving is just how do you get those way it's a weed contracts. So once you break that down, I will flip it though and say it's very easy now to solve the problem when you're looking at your time, what you're handing off. Now you say, okay, I know that I can generate 50 on my own because I did that. If you're more of an introverted preference on your personality type, all I really need to do is find a solution to come up with 25 more. And technology is something that comes natural, which come to, let's just say that that's 2 more leverage off some of the sales about 4 more appointments focus per your month time and energy on would generate 25 by the end of the year. Okay. And that's assuming you're doing 2 appointments for every contract you're signing. Leverage off. So your job is generating that. So you're asking yourself, how do I get 4 more appointments per month? And then the face-to-face interaction is done by somebody else. Without me physically having to go out and generate those. Now, if you're somebody who's more relational, maybe I go on the appointments. You like to, but I'm not going to generate them relationships. So now again, you're going to look through software systems. What software system will get that for me? Frankly, you're how can I leverage good at it? Outsourcing. You don't have a lot of interest. Or how can I probably not going to develop the skill? Because that's how you're going to solve that problem. Right? Like, if you're not going to do it, and you're never going to get good at it. So you might want to consider taking some of those pieces and leveraging those pieces off.
And also one more thing that I want to mention for
in order to somebody else who is better at it. And frankly, I think that's the relationship you and I have, right? I mean, I am somewhat technically skilled, right? I have decent technical skills, but I don't have a lot of time to really develop and hone those skills. Where you, on the other hand, your technical skills when it comes to software, technologies,
that will help you.
Social media, those things, your skills are much higher than mine, and you have more available time than I do. So, but where we can meet in the middle is you helping me understand what I need to do, right? And then you helping me execute on what I need to do.
And being conscious about this is very good.
So I'm not here to say that I don't need to learn how to use systems like Clubhouse, software systems like Clubhouse or YouTube, or get better at Google Analytics and those kind of things. I'm not here to say that I don't need to learn it, but I don't need to learn every single detail of it if I have somebody else who's kind of walking me through it and saying, okay, here's the parts I'm going to handle. Here's what what
than
I
that
need you to
too.
do.
Also, of course,
You know,
in
you
addition
don't
to
spend a lot of time
what
writing
Sean
copy for
recently
me,
mentioned.
right?
Yeah. So so
You don't spend a lot of
that's
time,
great.
you know,
And
writing
one more thing
what
that
our
we want
podcast is
to
going to be
talk
about.
about, also in
The
addition
majority of your
to
time is making sure
working
that these
hard
things are being
is
utilized in the right
not
way,
the
that
answer.
it's
Is
generating the results that
also
we want in front
being
of the audience that we want,
mindful
right?
and
So
conscious
there's
and
a great
aware that
example right there
you
in
are a
leveraging
human
something
being,
off,
as we mentioned in
right?
the
That's
beginning.
outside
You
of
are a
my
human
skill
being.
set, but it's still
Consider
necessary in sales
yourself
today.
as
And
something similar
outside of
to
your
your
country
phone, where
too.
you have a certain
And what?
percentage of your
And outside of your
battery
country.
level or
And outside of your country.
battery
Yeah, I
life,
mean, yeah, it
and
doesn't
keep
need to
that
be
as
somebody
something that is
who's
per
sitting
day.
in the
Like
office with
let's
you.
say your energy level is
I
10.
mean, technology today is
You do
amazing
this
about that.
task,
Like,
you
just
wake
amazing.
up and take the shower,
You know, I don't even like
or
using the
whatever
term
your
VA.
daily
Like,
routine
virtual
is,
assistant, I'm like,
at the gym
I
or
don't even
what
think of
is
it
it.
that way. I think it's a really,
So this is
I think
just
it's an
using
antiquated
one
term.
energy
It's
bar,
just a
and then you
coworker,
do this
right?
Yeah.
task,
You're a
let's say,
coworker.
for
You and I,
example,
we work together.
prospecting.
You know,
So
it's
you're
not a VA. I
using
mean,
2 bars.
look at
So
today, man. Everybody's
I'm just
working
trying
on Zoom
to
anyways. It wouldn't even
Yeah.
matter
this
if you were a
because
block
really
away
being mindful about this can help you avoid
in Egypt.
burnout.
It doesn't matter.
Can help you avoid feeling
It just
that
happens to
you are
be,
doing
1 in the
really,
morning where
really
you're
too
at.
much and still feeling
It's
that you are
currently
not getting
2.
there. Because this is
2 in the morning.
what I personally felt.
Yeah, absolutely. Right.
So
Absolutely.
going back to
Over
this, and I
promising,
just want to
getting yourself in
I
corners.
just want to
where
revisit this
you
one
can't
more time.
figure out your
Okay.
way back out.
If
Those are
your
all
goals,
traps,
and I'll
that,
use real
that
estate
we
as an
all
example,
experience.
okay?
Right? We all
So let's say your
run into
goal,
those things where,
let's say last
we-
year you did 50
we
sales,
end up
right? And in real estate, 50
sacrificing our
sales,
own,
considering the average
our own
real
health,
estate agent
our
annually
own
does about 12
happiness.
transactions
Yeah.
a year,
And then we
if you
become
sold
a martyr,
50 homes
right,
last
to
year,
the
you're in
whole
the top of your
process,
game. You're in
right?
the
And we're
top
complaining
2
to
to 3%
our family
in the
members and our
entire
spouses,
United
and we're
States.
mean to our kids.
And you say that your goal is to increase your sales
You know,
to 75
they're
cents.
going,
So
why are
wanna
you mean to
increase
me,
them
Dad?
by
Like,
50% year
what's
over
going
year.
on? Okay. Yeah.
So
It's
this
absolutely
So I love
achievable.
that you
Okay,
shared
that's what I want to
the
start with
link
first.
to the 16
But
strategies for
the
sales.
way you
and
solve
there is
that
a book
problem
available
is you
too
set the
that
goal,
we get in really
you
in deep
reverse
into kind of your
engineer the
personality profile and how that helps. I do think that that's actually a good place to start. I mean, my intention of this wasn't to plug the book and the
how many
website, but
contracts do I have
it is
to
a great
generate
place to
each
start
week?
if you're
And
really
then how
trying
many
to figure out where your
how many
strengths are
listing
and
appointments
where your
must I
blind
have?
spots. Those
and
are the
how many
parts
contracts
of your
must I sign?
personality that are
Okay?
just
So you're
outside
just
of your
doing the math,
awareness, right?
to break
Things
that
that
down.
you're not good at, but
Yeah.
you're not even aware
Once
that
you
you're not good at them.
establish
And then your
the number of
weaknesses.
appointments
So,
and number of
yeah, thanks for
contracts,
talking about that.
now the
Yeah, no
problem
problem.
that you're solving is just how do you get
Okay,
those appointments
so
and get
so
those
far
contracts?
we have covered
So once you break that
why
down,
working harder
it's
is a
very
good thing,
easy now to solve the
and
problem
in
in the
most cases,
absence of
right?
your time. Because
Being
now you say,
mindful
okay, I
about
know that
your
I can generate
own
50 on my
personal,
own because I did that
you know,
last year, right?
mental
So I can
health
repeat
and
50.
your
So all I
energy
really need to
level,
do is
and
find a
we need to be
solution to come
mindful
up with
about the
25
way that you
more
spend it, so that you
closings,
are not
which come
pushing
to, let's
yourself
just
too
say that
much,
that's 2
right?
more appointments or probably
In
about
addition
4
to
more
this, we have
appointments
talked
per
about
month
some solutions that might be
would
able
generate
to
the 25 by
help
the
you
end of the year.
with
Okay.
with
That's assuming you're doing 2
you
appointments for
know,
every
doing more of what you
contract
do
you're signing.
without actually doing it,
That would get you
by
to that. So you're asking
checking
yourself,
for
how do I get 4
technologies
more
that could help
appointments
you
per
with
month
that,
in the
or
absence of my time?
outsourcing those
Okay, without
specific
me
tasks
physically
to
having to
other
go out and
people or
generate those on
companies,
my own.
or
Maybe I go on the
hiring an
appointments,
in-house
but I'm
or
not going to
even
generate
a
them on
virtual
my own.
employee or
So
coworker
now again, you're
to
going to look through
help
software
you with that.
systems. What software system will
So
get
yeah,
that for me?
that is it
How can
so
I leverage
far
this through
for this
outsourcing?
topic. I think.
Or
Do you
how
have
can I
anything
hire an
to add,
employee to
Sean?
help me get there? Okay,
I think
that's
we
how
covered
you're going
it.
to solve that problem. Yeah, and again,
Yeah, and
stay
we will
focused on the
be
task.
talking in
What is the
another
goal that you're looking
episode
to
about the
achieve,
whole
and find
outsourcing kind of
solutions that
process.
orient you to that goal. And
And
you'll
also one
find
more
your
thing that
way.
I
It's
want to
not always
mention for those
easy.
who are
It's
listening
not always
and watching
clear.
us.
There's not always a
Sean
plan.
mentioned
If you
something
follow
about
somebody else's plan,
being mindful
their plan came
of
at a
your
specific time,
personality type.
in a specific
If
situation.
you are a
Plans are
salesperson
great.
and you don't
Recipes
know
are great
what's
to
your
follow,
personality type,
but you're
you
always
can
going to
visit
have to
the
tweak
website
and innovate along the way.
16strategies.com,
And just know
and
that,
take the
know that
sales
success in
personality
anything
assessment too.
um,
That will
comes
help
with
you
time and
to
task over time,
understand what's your
and your
personality
patience and
type,
your
and
diligence
intelligence
also
is
will
what's going to
tell you
lead you
more
to that
details,
success, not always, a
about
shortcut
you,
or,
yourself,
a secret
your
way, right?
strengths,
Everybody's always looking
points,
for the secret
and your
sauce.
weaknesses.
I haven't found the secret
And
sauce
I
yet. Have you found the
really
secret
think that
sauce yet?
knowing this and
No,
being
not yet.
conscious
Not yet.
about this is
There's
very
definitely
good
things that
when
make
it
it a
comes
little
to
easier.
making
Yeah, there's
decisions
definitely
and
things that make
things
it easier
similar
and
to
make it
this.
more
Let's say
enjoyable
things
along the way, right?
similar
And
to,
and I hope to share
picking the
some more of
things
those things
that
as we progress
you
through this
want other
podcast.
people to
Like
do,
we have a
because
lot of
by
information to
knowing
dig.
this,
I mean, I
you
could just sit
know
here and
already
speak all
what you're
day,
good at,
but
and
you
you
know,
know
we
already
try to
what you're
keep
not
these
good
things
at.
short to keep
So
people
based on that, you
keep their
can
attention focused and get them,
try
you know,
and make
inspired and get them
decisions
out there
based on
throughout the
that
day.
too.
So
Also,
we'll
of
share more of
course,
those
in
topics
addition
later.
to
Yeah,
what
certainly.
Sean
And
recently mentioned.
as always, if you
So
have any
yeah, so
question, you
that's
can
just
hashtag
great.
ask
And
Sean
one
on
more thing that
LinkedIn or
we want
Twitter,
to talk
and
about
we will try
also in
to
relation
get to
to
it and answer it as fast
working
as we
hard
can. Or you can just comment
like
on one of
is
our
not the
YouTube
answer.
videos, and we
Is
also will try
also
to answer that
being
as well.
mindful
So
and
yeah,
conscious and
that's all for
aware
today. Do
that
you have anything
you
else to
are
add,
a
Sean?
human being.
I'm
As we
good. You
mentioned in
guys
the
have a great
beginning,
day.
you are a human being. Consider yourself as something similar to your phone, where you have a certain percentage of your battery level or your battery life, and keep that as something that is per day. Like let's say your energy level is 10. You do this task, you wake up and take the shower, or whatever your daily routine is, or hit the gym, or what is it. So this is decreasing one energy bar, and then you do this other task. Let's say, for example, prospecting. So you're losing 2 bars. So I'm just trying to say this because really being mindful about this can help you avoid the burnout, can
Yeah.
help you avoid feeling that you're doing really, really, really too much and still feeling that you are not getting there. Because this is what I personally felt.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Absolutely. Over promising, getting yourself in corners where you can't figure out your way back out. You know, those are all traps that we all experience, right? We all
Mm.
run into those things where, you know, we end up sacrificing our own health, our own happiness,
Yeah.
and then we become a martyr, right, to the whole process,
Yeah.
right? Then we're complaining to our family members and our spouses, and we're mean to our kids.
You know,
They're going, "Why are you mean to me, Dad? Like, what's going on?" Yeah.
so this
So I love that you shared the link to the 16 strategies for sales, and there is a book available too that we get in really in deep into kind of your personality profile and how that helps. I do think that that's actually a good place to start. I mean, my intention of this wasn't to plug the book and the website, but it is a great place to start if you're really trying to figure out where your strengths are and where your blind spots. Those are the parts of your personality that are just outside of your awareness, right? The
mm,
things that you're not good at, but you're not even aware that you're not good at them, and then your weaknesses. So, yeah, thanks for talking about that.
yeah, no problem. Okay, so far we have covered why working harder isn't the thing, and in most cases, right? Being mindful about your own personal, you know, mental health and your energy level, and really be mindful about the way that you spend it, so that you are not pushing yourself too much, right? In addition to this, we have talked about some solutions that might be able to help you with doing more of what you do without actually doing it, by checking for technologies that could help you with that, or outsourcing those specific tasks to other people or companies, or hiring an in-house or even a virtual employee or a coworker to help you with that. So yeah, that is it so far for this topic, I think. Do you have anything to add, Sean?
No, I think we covered it. Yeah, and again, you know, stay focused on the task. You know, what is the goal that you're looking to achieve, and find solutions that orient you to that goal,
Mm,
and you'll find your way. It's not always easy.
yeah,
It's not always clear.
yeah.
There's not always a plan. You know, if you follow somebody else's plan, their plan came at a specific time in a specific situation.
Mm,
Plans are great, you know, recipes are great to follow, but you're always going to have to tweak and innovate along the way. And just know that, you know that success in anything comes with time and task over time. And your patience and your diligence is what's going to lead you to that success, not always, a shortcut or, a secret way, right? Everybody's always looking for the secret sauce. I haven't found the secret sauce yet. Have you found the secret sauce yet?
No, not yet.
Not yet. There's definitely things that make it a
Let's
little
keep
easier.
digging.
Yeah, there's definitely things that make it easier and make it more enjoyable along the way, right? And I hope to share some more of those things as we progress through this podcast. Like we
Yeah.
have a lot of information to dig. I mean, I could just sit here and speak all day, but we try to keep these things short to keep people keep their attention focused and to get them inspired and get them out there throughout the day. So we'll share more of those topics later.
Yeah, certainly. And as always, if you have any question, you can hashtag Ask Sean on LinkedIn or Twitter, and we will try to get to it and answer it as fast as we can. Or you can just comment on one of our YouTube videos, and we also will try to answer that as well. So yeah, that's all for today. Do you have anything else to add, Sean?
I'm good. You guys have a great day.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much, guys, for watching, listening, or whatever it is that you're doing to try to hear our message. And I hope you really enjoyed this podcast and this episode today.
Cool. Good deal.
Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.